And tonight we are going to be talking the big news that everyone's been waiting to hear. That's right. Alfred Molina is back as Doc Ock, baby.
And the whole rest of the Spider-Man cast is back. Every single person that's ever been in Spider-Man, any Spider-Man.
Even the Japanese one.
Yeah, definitely they're getting the guy from the suit in Japan in the late 70s. Definitely him. And I heard they're going to get Greg Brady in this movie as well.
Wow.
That would make me very happy. I don't think it's true.
And while in any other week, that would be some huge exciting news. We're actually going to be talking about the Star Wars projects that were announced by Disney today.
The far too many Star Wars projects.
Are you sure about that?
I'm conflicted, man. Conflicted about some of this.
Yeah.
Mostly, a couple of things I'm really psyched for. Some of the stuff I'm apprehensive for. So, do you want to start us off in a direction? We have. There's 10 titles to talk about. 3 of which we already knew existed.
Mm-hmm.
Plus some crazy ass casting news. Yeah, I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And then a Buzz Lightyear origin film that we absolutely need.
Yeah, we definitely need that. All the Marvel stuff, yeah, there's a ton of them. Just the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah. Why am I dropping frames? If this broadcast is all messed up, it's because no one was prepared to do this. Especially us.
Yeah. So I don't even know where to start. Let me see that image again because
all right, let's talk about the ones that we've known about before. The first one, I think maybe this was the earliest announced, was Andor, right?
Mm-hmm, the Cassian Andor series.
So Diego Luna's character from Rogue One is getting his own movie, getting his own show, which is like a spy show. Mm-hmm. We didn't learn anything new about that today, just that it is definitely still happening, and we got a teaser reel with some behind-the-scenes footage, and mostly Diego Luna talking about how awesome Star Wars is.
Yes. Yeah, reminding you, it is happening. I actually even have we're just getting ready to do this, and so I didn't even have time to watch the teaser. So I still have yet to do that. But yeah, the Cassian Andor series is still happening, and I'm very excited for it. Not as excited as in theory as I am about some of the other things.
Yeah, I will watch it. But as Star Wars has needed to do and been hit and miss on in the last few years, I'm holding out hope and excitement for most of... as I was recalling with my brother today, I didn't give a crap about Mandalorian until it came out and it was actually good.
Mm-hmm.
But now I love that show, as we all know. So, Andor, that was first up.
Mm-hmm. Something else they actually had footage of was The Bad Batch.
Right, another title that we've been made aware of previously, a spin-off of Clone Wars, specifically kind of the first 4 episodes of season 7, which were like a backdoor pilot kind of, I guess, for this other group of clone troopers that is like an Expendables-esque team out of an 80s action movie.
Exactly. And I did have time to quickly watch this trailer as we were getting ready, and I was pleasantly surprised with how good it looks.
Yeah, it seems like it's retaining all the models and animation style from Clone Wars, right?
Yeah, which I was very surprised by, because I feel like that means this must have been in the works for a while. Just based on the quality of how it looks. So I am looking forward to that, surprisingly. I actually have a theory. I mean, this isn't my own theory, but it's something I heard like months ago, back when the Bad Batch, they were originally like introduced and they were going to have this series. There were rumors that it was going to tie into Baby Yoda. Now we know him as Grogu.
Oh,
and I'm like, oh, that's like, how would they do that? And then we find out in the Ahsoka episode a few weeks back that he was being trained in the Jedi Temple and that he was hidden away. And so it's like I saw, like, I didn't even read the so-called theory. I just saw the image of the Bad Batch and Baby Yoda, and I remembered that, and I was like, oh, it's going to be the Bad Batch. Do they sneak in and help hide Grogu?
Yeah, I mean, it could be that they swoop in after Order 66 and are the ones that, take him off away to safe hiding space. Like, yeah, this is another one. I mean, I'll certainly check out Bad Batch. I'll certainly watch it because, I'm one of these Star Wars people. But it's the stuff in Clone Wars that always had the hardest time clicking with me was just the kind of like adventure episodes. I mean, I liked them kind of like in a bubble by themselves, but I didn't crave more of it. So this is one that's going to have to prove itself to me a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but it looks good so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we shall see. And then also we've got the Kenobi miniseries.
Right, directed by Deborah Chow, who we know and love from season 1 of Mando.
And there was some big news that they that came along with that, which was we're getting the return of Hayden Christensen playing Darth Vader.
Yeah, so if it's going to be him in the suit, I'd really like him to get buff.
Yeah, I've got mixed feelings on this as well.
Yeah.
They had a different guy for Rogue One. I forget the name of the actor, but they did have somebody in the Darth Vader suit that I think did one heck of a job.
Yeah, I like that guy a lot.
I'd love to see him return.
Yeah.
So when I see Hayden Christensen being in the Kenobi series, my first thought is I'm just hoping like he appears not as a Force ghost, obviously. He can't do that yet, but just like visions, like dreams maybe Obi-Wan's having.
That's what I was hoping. Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, and I am very in for seeing what Hayden might do with a better script and better direction. Because I don't know if you've seen this movie, Travis. There's this movie called Shattered Glass starring Hayden Christensen.
Paul Rudd.
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's like really great in that movie. And I think it really goes to show that the dude's been unfairly maligned in his career. I think he's one of these actors that really needs a good script and needs a director that knows how to mold his performance. Because like I've seen him in Star Wars, I've seen him in Jumper, and I've seen him in Shattered Glass. I
think that's the extent of my filmography with him as well.
Yeah, so it's like that's really like 1 out of 4 of those he's any good in. So Jumper's a very bad movie. But so yeah, I'll be interested to see his take on the character once if the scripts are better and depending on how Deborah Chow is able to handle him. That could be really interesting. But again, I'm gonna hold out some judgment on that. But this is actually a series I am one of the more excited for, because they're gonna figure out a way to make it action. But I just want like Obi-Wan's tortured psyche in the desert, the show.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a book that they made called Kenobi. John Jackson Miller wrote it. It was almost 10 years ago now. So this is part of Legends, and it's a really good book. So
cool.
I'm very fascinated, by that particular stretch of time in Obi-Wan Kenobi's life. So another one I'm looking forward to. What is next?
I was going to go with the dual announcements of the ones in the timeline of The Mandalorian. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So first up, to the surprise of nobody, we have an Ahsoka television series starring Rosario Dawson.
What?
Live action. And set in the timeline of The Mandalorian. There's another show, which we'll talk about in a minute, that's also set in the timeline of The Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. And my concern there, before we get into talking more about these two shows specifically, my concern there is like that feels like such a decision made by suits who are disconnected from what actually made The Mandalorian successful. What made The Mandalorian successful was a unique take with characters that we had never seen before in a timeline that we had never explored that much in live action. And to take that and now say like, oh, you like that? Have more of that. No, we have that. We have that now. Give us something else.
Should go ahead and just talk about what that other title is.
It's Rangers of the New Republic, which is in all likelihood the Cara Dune show.
Yeah.
Which, like, fine, but why? Is it like Space Law and Order? Is she Space Mariska Hargitay? She might be.
Yeah, who knows? That was a very interesting, not quite out of left field one for me, because they've kind of been setting it up with her character this season, her getting the badge and being the legitimized marshal and stuff. So it's like, okay, but I'm not quite as a
problem, but I'm not really excited by this one.
Yeah. And both of these are taking place, like you said, concurrently in the timeline with The Mandalorian, which with the Ahsoka stuff makes sense based on what we got of her in that episode. And like, all right, let's see her go on this journey to find Thrawn and Ezra.
Sure. Yeah.
And for sure, Sabine, live action Sabine, is going to be in that series.
Right. And this is kind of what Filoni was hinting at recently, right? That the epilogue in Rebels perhaps takes place just before or perhaps after the episode of The Mandalorian that we see Ahsoka in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if the show explores that story, like tracking down Ezra and Thrawn, I'm in for that as a show, regardless of like when it is in the timeline. I just, that's another thing. Like, I don't really want like Ahsoka going to Amy Sedaris for help too. You know what I mean? But it'll be great to see more of Rosario as Ahsoka and more of that live action Ahsoka, because it was so good.
Oh yeah, agreed. One weird thing about that is just kind of, there's got to be a setup to it that they've got to make it accessible to people who have not watched Clone Wars or Rebels. And I feel like so far as we know, the premise of that show is predicated on the Rebels epilogue. Right. And the series like preceding it. And there's got to be a way to catch people up.
Well, it's got to be like Ahsoka retelling the events of Rebels in like a 5-minute capsulization, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, I don't know why I'm so concerned with this. Favreau and Filoni are developing both of these series, and just based on the way that they've done things so exquisitely, introducing things to a mainstream audience in The Mandalorian, I shouldn't really have any concerns there.
I guess I actually hadn't read the bit that Filoni and Favreau were developing those two, so that gives me a little more hope for those. But that leaves me, I just want. See, also my problem with how many shows there are is like Filoni now cannot supervise all of these.
No, he can't. I think the New Republic one, I think they're going to kind of split. I think New Republic is going to be more Favreau.
Yeah.
Ahsoka is going to be mostly Filoni.
Yeah.
I think I heard that there might be like something contractual with Filoni and Ahsoka, that he is the only one who's really allowed to give the okay on stories about her.
Interesting. That's cool. So yeah, those will be cool. Do we know when any of this is coming? It's all either
No,
just in development.
they've not
or
given
still
us
shooting.
dates.
Okay.
Which I was expecting at the end of the Bad Batch thing to be like February or March 2021, but they've not done that.
Who knows? I think perhaps next up is Lando.
Yes.
A Lando series being developed by Justin Simeon, the creator of Dear White People. And it doesn't seem like there's actual information about this show out there, just that it will exist. But it's probably a safe bet.
Do we even know that it's live action?
We don't, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think if it's developed by Justin Simeon and a Lando show, that feels like a Donald Glover package.
Oh yes. Like that's. I mean, I saw that. I saw the Lando news, and Donald Glover was all that came to mind. So.
Yeah, and like that was, as much as I really, really love Solo. I think it's a really fun movie. I don't think it's perfect. I don't think we needed it, but I really love that movie. I think it's super fun, and I think it's hard to argue that the absolute highlight is Donald Glover as Lando.
Yeah.
And I'm so very in for like even just 5 more minutes of him as Lando somewhere. So if we get Don Glover in a Lando show, I'm really excited about that.
Yes, me too. So excited for that whenever it's going to happen. And, you can also assume that if Donald Glover is involved, even acting, hopefully he's involved creatively as well, to a similar extent that he might be on something like Atlanta or something, which is an excellent show.
Yeah, I love Atlanta. It would be really cool for him to be involved creatively. I wonder how interested in Disney is allowing that. Isn't allowing that. But I mean, that being said, it's not like Solo was his first time out with Disney. He was in the ill-conceived Lion King remake.
Yes, and also wasn't he writing a Deadpool series or something at one point?
I think he was, but I think that got killed before the Fox acquisition.
I didn't know if it was prior to that or not.
I think it was prior to that, and I think it was being developed for FX. And then I think he put out like a page of the script or something on Twitter once it was officially not happening. We're dropping a lot of frames on the broadcast. I haven't restarted my computer all day. I'm sure that's why. So
it's okay.
Sorry, stream humans. Yeah. There's a couple. That's good. So yeah, what next? I have 3 more. Well, there's 4 more titles, but I only have images for 3 of them. Should I just bring it up? It's
yes.
Let's talk about The Acolyte next.
I have no idea what this is.
Okay,
so you'll have to tell me.
This is actually straight up the most exciting out of all of these to me. And I'm pulling a lot of information from the extensive /film coverage on this subject today, written by Chris Evangelista, Ben Pearson, Hoi Tran Bui, and Ethan Anderton. Thank you guys for your tireless work. But as it's written in this one article, The Acolyte is a series from Russian doll co-creator Leslie Headland.
Oh, this is that one.
Yep. The show is described as a mystery thriller that will take viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. So, yeah, this sounds like a Sith TV show.
Yeah, I mean, Acolyte, that's what comes to mind.
Yeah. So I'm in for that. We haven't seen like a bad guy Star Wars show. And I'm very interested in bad guys as protagonists and or at least main characters, if they're not the protagonist. And that could be bold and interesting if they go for it hard enough. And Russian Doll was one of my favorite shows the year that show came out. Russian Doll is really freaking great.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
So that's super exciting. That's the most, to me, that's the one that seems like it's most disconnected from anything.
Yes.
And that's
I'd agree so far.
That's what's interesting to me at this point. Then on the TV front, we have one more series, Star Wars Visions, which is it's an animated series. This one was specified animated, so I think that is a good indication that Lando is not.
Yeah.
An original series of animated short films celebrates the Star Wars galaxy through the lens of the world's best Japanese anime creators. So we're going to get an anime anthology Star Wars show.
Yeah, this is interesting. The Star Wars Visions makes me think there is a comic series. I believe it was, if it's not Visions, it was Visionaries.
Are you thinking Infinities?
Infinities. Well, there's also, I thought there was, I mean, I might be misremembering Infinities. No, Star Wars Visionaries. Let's see. Graphic novel. Yeah, no, I'm right.
Oh, cool.
11 stories written and drawn by concept artists who worked on Revenge of the Sith. All right. But so I was right about the title being Visionaries, but like what you're talking about with the Infinities, that is the plot as far as like any ideas of what this could be about is kind of what comes to mind, because Marvel is having the What If series, which is animated.
Right. So this feels kind of like that to me.
Yeah.
This feels kind of like non-canon, fun, interesting, artful Star Wars cartoons. At least I'm hoping that's what it is.
Yeah, I'd love to see some new kind of animation be explored.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I love the Clone Wars that we're all familiar with, there's also the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars series, which I think is wonderful and
so great.
You can't find anywhere anymore.
Nope. Still got my DVDs.
That's the only way.
Yeah. There's another TV project. This seems to be not a show. It seems like some kind of a special. But it'll be an animated thing, partnership between Lucasfilm Animation and the Lucasfilm Visual, between Lucas Animation and ILM, called A Droid Story, described as an epic journey that will introduce us to a new hero guided by R2-D2 and C-3PO. There is not enough information there to decide if that's any good.
No.
But the fact that it's animated to me means we get Anthony Daniels as the voice of C-3PO, and that's always a good thing.
Yeah. Which is so rare for him not to do the voice of C-3PO.
Yeah, I feel like he's got to have like a vocal booth set up in his house at this point. So anytime they need him to do 3PO, he just goes to the closet with the microphone and computer and just pipes himself in and does it.
Yeah, we've got the Star Wars tree up, and which is a tree that's all Star Wars ornaments. And one of the ornaments we got one year is a C-3PO wearing a Santa's hat, and he says all these famous C-3PO lines with a holiday twist. And I remember when I opened that up and I started playing it, I'm like, oh, this is not Anthony Daniels. This sounds weird.
Oh no, that's so sad.
I know. I don't know why. Because they made another one with him and R2 like the following year, and it was you could tell it was Anthony Daniels back. And I'm like, I don't, what happened with that one ornament they made?
That's weird. And then I think you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the last title announcement is not a TV project.
No.
The theatrical film Star Wars Rogue Squadron, directed by Patty Jenkins.
Also, you said theatrical, and that term could be who knows what that term is going to mean.
Well, it also says the end of the slash film article says Rogue Squadron will be released in theaters Christmas 2023.
So that's isn't 2023 when they said the next theatrical film would be released?
Very well could be.
22.
I honestly stopped paying attention to what they said was the plan was for upcoming Star Wars theatrical films because Disney's batting like they've done 5 out of I don't even know how many proposed feature films. There were supposed to be 2 other trilogies. There's supposed to be the trilogy by the Game of Thrones idiots and a trilogy by Rian Johnson, neither of which we're getting. It seems.
I don't. What's the opposite of announced or
unannounced?
Like, yes,
super canceled.
Like they've said it's not happening.
Yeah,
the Rian Johnson one has been something they've never fully addressed. It's been something they announced 3 years ago, and have just slowly like backed away from it, like the Homer gif.
Yeah. There was also the Boba Fett movie that was supposed to be made by James Mangold.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm even missing some. There was
and then
supposed to be
even
a
prior to
solo
Mangold,
sequel.
it was going to be Josh Trank doing that movie.
Right. And I think there was supposed to be a solo sequel, like there's supposed to be there's probably at least 8 or 9 movies that they said we were going to get that are definitely not happening. Or almost definitely not happening. So I'm taking this one with a huge grain of salt. Although, the fact that it was on the investor call and Patty Jenkins posted a video about it on Twitter, seemingly super psyched for it. Maybe it's a little bit more legitimate. Now it's interesting because number one of Star Wars films that Disney has released that aren't saga films, one of them is already called Rogue something. So I'm not sure if they are trying to bank on that or if it's going to create some brand confusion. But the other thing is Rogue Squadron was a hugely popular among Star Wars nerds in the 90s video game, series of novels, and series of comic books about the adventures of Wedge Antilles and the Rogue Squadron. Now, that could be very, very freaking cool. It could be very cool to get, a real Star Wars fighter pilot movie. I would love to see a Wedge Antilles character explored, but it would bum me out that it wouldn't be...
Dennis Lawson.
Yeah, Dennis Lawson. Why do I keep thinking Garrick Hagen?
I don't know who that is.
Was he the guy who played Wedge? Fake Wedge?
There's a fake Wedge.
Fake Wedge in the briefing room scene?
Yeah.
Oh no, Garrick Hagen was Biggs, my bad.
Oh, okay. Can't believe I didn't know that.
So, yeah. So Rogue Squadron could be super
Maybe it's a
interesting.
Biggs series. Or a Biggs movie in disguise.
I would take a Biggs movie. That'd be fun.
Oh, it's just titled Biggs! Exclamation point.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if this was like a Wedge movie starring like de-aged Dennis Lawson? Like if they threw the current tech de-aging at only known for playing Wedge Antilles Dennis Lawson.
Wow, that'd be crazy.
That would be the truest way.
Let's Irishman this guy.
Yeah, we need to Irishman Dennis Lawson for a Rogue One movie, and they won't. That's too expensive. They'd recast.
Oh yeah, But yeah, I got confused when I saw this headline because I was like, Rogue Squadron, yeah, the video game, no, the books, no, the a new movie. Okay, interesting.
It's surprising. I mean, but it's also great. I mean, it's not. It's very notable that we have our first female filmmaker directing a Star Wars feature in Patty
Mm-hmm.
Jenkins. And I think she fits this bill very well. I cannot say that I have seen anything that she has made aside from the first Wonder Woman, which I did think was a generally pretty smart movie. I really liked the first two-thirds of it. The last third is the same as literally every other superhero movie that has been made in the last 20 years.
Maybe she'll get Chris Pine involved.
Hey man, I would watch a Chris Pine Wedge Antilles movie. That would be cool.
Yeah.
But she's smart and she knows how to play ball with the studio. Which
She directed some Arrested Development episodes.
Did not know.
Yeah.
But the fact that like we know Patty Jenkins is studio friendly, but also knows how to maintain some integrity around her work gives me hope for it being a good movie.
Yeah. Also, she's doing that Cleopatra movie with Gal Gadot that's supposed to come out in 2022.
Well, she's busy and rich.
Yeah. No word on Wonder Woman 3 yet, though.
No word on Wonder Woman 3. Because Disney just sent Warner's shitting their pants. Oops, sorry, Star Wars families. I said a poop word. So yeah.
So other than that,
what else? Is there anything else? Yeah.
The only other thing they did was, like we've said with the Rian Johnson trilogy, that they have been not talking about they're just trying to hope that they're hoping people forget. They're throwing like 10 of these things out here so that people stop talking about the Rian Johnson stuff. But we'll always remember.
As the thing I wanted most, actually.
Yeah.
The Rian Johnson whatever he wants Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah. But the only other thing they did was they did still make reference to the Taika Waititi movie that is still being developed.
Right, which I forgot about again, even though you mentioned it before we got on the air.
Yeah. Another one, I have faith that one is happening because Taika has a good relationship with Disney. He's worked with Lucasfilm now with the Mandalorian. I heard reports a few weeks back of them location scouting for the film. So
now the thing that isn't in this announcement that I now have basically zero hope for is a Dr. Aphra TV show.
Yeah, that's what I thought when we were talking about the Acolyte stuff. I'm like, oh, this is what you thought the Russian doll creator was doing.
And I mean, it's possible that, Aphra could pop up in that show. That's era appropriate for her. The comic book adventures of her are kind of taking place concurrently with the original trilogy. So something right at the tail end of the High Republic era that seems like, she could be out there doing some stuff. She'd be younger, but, she could come up. But it does make me think that when I heard a rumor I heard from a colleague that they had shot something for a female-led Star Wars show, that was probably the Ahsoka show.
That would make sense.
I would think that probably around the time they shot her episode, while they had her makeup and costuming all ready to go, they probably shot some kind of a pitch package or, short pilot to show to Disney to say this is what this would be like. So I would still really love a Dr. Aphra TV show. It would be real fun. But I guess we have 9 other shows to pick from now. So we'll see. I mean, are we going to get to like 2022 and there's literally a new episode of a Star Wars thing on every week?
Yeah, possibly.
Jesus.
I don't know. But at least I mean, I appreciate The Mandalorian for telling its story efficiently,
Yeah.
both in runtime and episode count.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like we're in the days of when the Star Wars Underworld series could have possibly been on ABC.
Oh, right. And
They
had
would have
like
been
24 episodes
exactly.
in a season. And yeah. Yeah, that's too much. You only have to look as far as the X-Files to see the limitations that you run into when you do 20 plus episode seasons.
Mm-hmm. I mean, any series.
Any series, but I guess I picked a genre series. I guess Star Trek's too. I mean, you know, except not new Star Treks, which I haven't really watched.
Yeah.
There's still half of Picard.
I mean, even so, we just watched the most recent episode the other night, and we were like, whoa, this is... Sometimes episodes of Discovery are really good, and then sometimes they give you some real stinkers. But we're not going to talk about Star Trek.
That's fine. So, yeah. Did we miss anything? Is that all the stuff?
That's all we got. I did reach out to Dustin, and Dustin gave us his thoughts on everything. So
let's
everybody who's been waiting on bated breath for that, here you go.
This is all well and good, exciting news for Star Wars fans and everything. But until they announce Brendan Fraser as Dash Rendar, I don't care.
So that's it. That's final word on Dustin.
His viewpoint is valid.
Yeah, he's consistent.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm with that. Let's get the friggin' Dash Rendar show. Where is that? Prince Shizor, Origin of Boosh. Oh no, wait. The origin of the Boosh armor was actually revised in an episode of what were those like 3-minute Star Wars cartoons?
Not Galaxy of Adventure, but the other one. Forces of Destiny. That's
Forces of Destiny. A very low quality program that is just doing whatever it wants with canon. I think I went on a longer rant about that during one of our Clone Wars episodes, actually.
They also explain the Leia dress that the Ewoks make in Return of the Jedi.
Oh, right, yeah. Because that needed an explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. But yeah, do the other stuff. Bring back the Outrider. I think that was Dash Rendar's ship.
Yeah, so that is our emergency podcast for the all the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah,
and that's only like part of what was announced today. We were both getting ready for the show, and we're seeing all the Marvel stuff, and we're like, "Whoa, this is crazy!"
Yeah, I mean, I'll just read down a list of
Christian
headlines
Bale's going to be in Love and Thunder.
Yeah, Christian Bale is going to be in a Marvel movie. Hasn't he said he didn't want to do that? Now I guess they threw enough money at him that he wants to do that.
Yeah.
What else we got? Hocus Pocus 2 confirmed for Disney Plus, so stop asking.
Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special that James Gunn is making
before Volume 3.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is the title of Ant-Man 3. Black Panther 2 will not recast T'Challa in the wake of Chadwick Boseman's death. There's trailers.
Fantastic Four movies finally made.
There's a new Fantastic Four movie that might be good.
It will be. I mean, I have no doubt. This is the one we've been waiting on.
We have a Enchanted sequel. Disenchanted, Amy Adams is coming back for a Disney Plus sequel. Moana and Princess and the Frog are getting sequel shows. Baymax and Zootopia Plus are getting animated TV shows. Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, and What If all have trailers now. It's madness. Oh, there's a Miss Marvel. There's a Miss Marvel first look also. Wait, what? That's a show? There's what? I didn't know that there was a Miss Marvel show. So, okay. Oh, and Marvel announces Secret Invasion.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier is coming out in March.
Okay.
That's exciting.
She-Hulk. Here's a She-Hulk show.
Yeah, we knew that.
With Mark Ruffalo is going to be in it, and Tim Roth is going to be in it. Samuel L. Jackson is going to be back as Nick Fury in Secret Invasion. They're actually making like a Skrull TV show. That's nonsense. Ironheart, I don't even know what that is. It's about
Ironheart is what Iron Man. She kind of takes over for Tony Stark in the current line of Marvel Comics.
Oh, okay. And then Armor Wars, because Don Cheadle definitely needed a War Machine show. I Am Groot. Well, Baby Groot is getting a series of animated shorts. Like
they're like, we gotta compete with the Baby Yoda. They're gonna have the Baby Yoda
they're competing
and
with themselves.
Baby Groot. Well, yeah, it's a friendly rivalry. But...
So, I just want to tell nerds in 1993, hey everyone, we made it.
I am going to create, a special time capsule and send this back so that everyone knows.
I think that this would people would not believe you. Like, I think you could travel back in time and tell people about like what happened politically, socially, environmentally, and there'd be a lot of people who'd be like, yes, I see that as a way reality could absolutely go. But if you went back in time and said there's going to be a really high quality She-Hulk TV show, no one would believe you.
Yeah. No. I mean, I barely believe all the headlines we saw today. And
Disney is a drug dealer.
Yeah. They saw HBO Max and Warner Brothers make an announcement last week, and they're like, oh, we've got something up our sleeve. And guess what? We're not going to get sued for it.
And we're not going to piss off like 75% of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Patty Jenkins was speaking up today too. I read Patty Jenkins like slamming Joss Whedon's cut of Justice League and getting in Zack Snyder's corner on this whole Justice League issue.
Interesting.
So I guess for our freaking Doom Justice League miniseries, more fodder for the canon. There's big day in entertainment news.
Yeah. So yeah, that was all of it, or at least all of it that we have the capacity to talk about right now, or even have knowledge of. There's going to be more, I think, news and details spilling out in the days, weeks, and months to come.
Yeah, for sure.
But so until that time, Alex, where can people find your work?
I'm on Twitter and on Instagram at Alex Brunel, spelled that way.
Yes. And you can find the show. We're on Facebook, where we usually stream on Monday nights, covering The Mandalorian, and on YouTube, on Twitch. Subscribe to us on any of your podcasting feeds. We appreciate that. We appreciate feedback and reviews. And so until next week, when we'll be covering the episode of The Mandalorian that drops at midnight tonight.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's happening too. Oh boy, I do not have here to battle stations, everyone.